Welcome back, everyone. Wow. It's a new streaming week, and we've got a lot to talk about, including yesterday's Sony digital showcase. Lord of the Rings Gollum is finally out. Oh boy. Plus a lot of other fun stuff here on DSP Gaming. So, let's start the show. All right, welcome to the Level 1 Podcast, everyone. I hope you're having a good one, and I hope you're ready for a brand spanking new streaming week. Today is Thursday, the 25th of May, 2023. I'm Darkside Phil, and we have quite a lot to talk about on today's show. First of all, it's my day back from a day off, which was a well-needed day off, to say the least. After all the crap and drama that happened at the end of the last week out of nowhere, I really needed a day to relax, which I did. I'll talk about that today here on the show. But also, as always, if there's ever going to have any kind of news or any kind of information or anything's going to happen, it's going to happen on my day off. And indeed it did this week, because there was a big Sony showcase digital event, which covered a wide variety of gaming topics. Gave a lot of updates on some Sony exclusives that are currently in development. Also gave updates on some third-party games that'll actually be all over the place. And so we're going to talk about all that today, and I hope that you guys are ready for a good jam-packed Level 1 podcast. But of course, we're actually coming back this week strong and hitting the ground running with a lot of gameplay content, because guess what? We have to get as far as we possibly can in all the games this week, because this is the final week before the release of Street Fighter 6. So the more we get done this week, the better. We'll talk about the schedule and what games I currently have lined up and all of that. I'm excited, but before we get to any of that, all right, a couple quick things, all right. I just want to say thank you all, because we've done, I feel, a pretty good job in the last 2 weeks of keeping drama off this channel, out of the chat, and just focusing in on the games and the fun that we're having, right? Sometimes, sadly, you can't avoid drama. You know, when I get robbed, you can't really avoid drama. So it is what it is, all right? But please understand that this policy is not going to change, all right? If I so choose to talk about anything in regards to the shit that happened, I will. But I don't want to make that the end-all, be-all of my content, all right? I'm just being honest. Also, I already see people misbehaving in the chat. I'm going to give you about 20 seconds to stop spamming emotes. Because if you don't stop spamming in 20 seconds, I'm just going to start laying out bans. Because I just have no tolerance for it anymore. Really, like, I just don't. All right? We're going to have a good chill week here with gameplay and fun. We're not going to have people acting like children. All right? I'm done with it. I'm not going to have people derailing my stuff. People already complained about that before I went on break earlier this week, saying, I don't know why people are doing this. It's derailing the chat. So, that's it. The next person that I see doing it gets a ban, and then we'll just continue on with that. It's that simple. All right? Okay. There you go. Anyway, so I'm back. All right? And I am hoping to have a normal week this week of great progress. Okay? Just so you guys know, here's what's on the horizon. First week of June, we got the big release of Street Fighter 6, and yes, absolutely, that is going to be my major focus at that time. So once Street Fighter 6 comes out, and that is what I'm focusing on, I don't want to have 100 lingering games. So I am really doing my absolute best to get as far as I can this week in the games that we're playing. Now, that being said, I know I'm not finishing everything this week. We're currently juggling 4 games. The games we are juggling are as follows: Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Oblivion, and Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. Now, if you look at all of the games and where we are in each one, okay? Essentially, I know we could finish one, and we're going to finish it tonight. That game is Oblivion. We are in the finale of the game. In fact, I think there's only 2 story missions left, and we beat the whole thing. I don't see how we couldn't beat that tonight, especially because I actually did all the prerequisite mission qualifications to make the final mission easier. So I think we're going to be able to kind of run through that tonight and wrap it up, which is great. It'll be the finale of Oblivion. Everyone, I hope you'll tune into my late stream tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, to give it a send-off. I mean, it's now been, no exaggeration, 5-month playthrough. So now we can wrap it up and say, let's move on to other stuff, okay? Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. Now, here's the deal. We had good momentum in this game. We're in the final third of it, but now we've missed out on a whole stream of it because of the nonsense that happened earlier this week, which sucked. I mean, I didn't intend for that to happen, but it did. And there's nothing sometimes you can do about that kind of stuff. So we're already behind on a stream. Now, realistically, if I just keep playing Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster this week, will I beat it? The only way I could see that happening is if I literally play it as every night stream. Like, seriously, if every night stream after we've finished Oblivion tonight, if I play it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, maybe if we play it 5 straight days, 2 hours each, maybe then I could beat it. That's a maybe, okay? But I don't know if that really makes sense, because people might get bored of the same game every night, right? And at the same time as well, you know, thinking about it, maybe we should alternate. Maybe we should take a daytime stream of a game that I absolutely know I'm not beating and make Final Fantasy a daytime stream this week. We basically need to figure it out because, man, I don't know how, you know, we're getting close to the end, but we're not there yet, right? And I'm wondering, you know, how to handle it. The other thing is, let's talk about the other 2 games. Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Zelda. We are not even close to making a dent in Zelda. We've only beaten one of the major dungeons. We're doing open world exploration and everything. That's just, you know, that's just not going to do any difference there. But Star Wars, right? I don't know how much further we have to go in Star Wars. We may very well be near the end of it. Or nearing the end of it. I don't know how long the game is. If you take a look at our playthrough of Star Wars, we are currently at 22 hours of gameplay, okay? And, you know, we're playing it today. It's the major stream, and we're alternating. Now, of course, Saturday is my React day, so maybe we play it Sunday and then Tuesday. With 3 more major streams of Star Wars this week, that's another 12 hours of game, or excuse me, 9 hours of gameplay. How far in will we be when we're around 30 hours? Is that near the end of the game? I don't know. I would have to ask you guys and defer to you. If you're focusing in on Star Wars and its main story, you know, can it be beaten in 30 hours, you know? I don't know. See, Sis Alchemist says you're on the 3rd of 6 planets, which means nothing. Because the planets are all different lengths. You know what I'm saying? The planet, like, take a look at the different planets we've been on. Right? Right now, Kobo and Jeddah are the 2 planets that have been lengthy and we've done a lot on. But then we had other planets that were super short. Right? That we basically, zoop, we were there and off and we're done with them. So, I don't know. Realistically, I don't know how long the game is. Okay? That's what I'm thinking. If we focus in a lot on Star Wars this week, can we maybe beat that? That would be good. Because if all we have left lingering is Zelda and maybe Final Fantasy, that would be a lot more doable than trying to juggle 3+ games and then Street Fighter. Because here's the deal. Street Fighter 6 comes out on June 2nd. That's going to take up a ton of my time. Then Diablo 4 comes out a few days later, and I guarantee you that people are going to want to balance Street Fighter with Diablo. They're going to want to see both. Those are going to be the focus at that time. So how on earth am I going to be juggling all these other games? It's a concern, and the fact that I've had to give up so much time to stuff this month, when I could have been focusing more on games, you know, it is concerning. We did a Street Fighter marathon, which was fun, and I loved, and it was successful, but at the same time, it's a day away from gaming. The React stuff is 1 day a week. That's another major stream away from gaming. And, you know, it takes its toll. So, I guess the question is, what do we guys want to do? What do you want to do, right? Today, let's focus in on Star Wars. Let's see how far we get, okay? I need input today during the Star Wars stream. If you guys have played it and beaten it and know how far I actually am into it, and say, yeah, if you played it another 2 times this week, you played another 6+ hours, maybe you could beat it. That's great. If not, Maybe we should try to shuffle the schedule around. Maybe we should be playing Star Wars on the late streams once we beat Oblivion. So that way, with the extra 1 or 2 streams, maybe another extra 4+ hours, maybe we could beat it that way. Let's figure it out. Okay, let's figure it out and go from there. But it's still going to be a great week of gaming. I'm excited for more Star Wars. I like the game now. Even though the graphical shortcomings are annoying, I'm really enjoying the game. I like Zelda a lot, you know, and we're trying to play it. But the thing is, Zelda, I know someone who said they've now played Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, 90 hours. 90. And they're not near the end of the game yet. And I'm like, so basically this game is going to be something I play for like 4 months then. I don't even see a way around it. They've released an insanely long, lengthy game in the midst of a crazy busy gaming season where all these games are coming out at once. They could have released it during the crazy amount of dead time that we had, but they waited until everything else was coming out. This is pretty crazy, right? I guess we'll see what happens there, but I think Zelda, sadly, is going to be a game that's going to be, you know, waiting. I'll be honest, I am going to be way more interested in Street Fighter 6 than Zelda. Absolutely I am. I like Zelda, but Street Fighter is my roots. This is a game that I'm going to want to play a lot of, and hopefully is a good game that you guys are going to want to see a lot of too. You know what I mean? So, alright. That being said, let's now go through the schedule. So today it's Star Wars on the first stream, and the conclusion of Oblivion on the late stream. It would be great if you could come by tonight for the conclusion of Oblivion, being that it's a 5-month-long freaking playthrough. It'd be good to give it a nice proper send-off if you could. We'll see what happens tonight. Hopefully it's a good ending. I don't know. A lot of people have said the story is the weakest part of the game, but I hope the ending is good. Tomorrow, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom on the first stream, and Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster on the late stream. Saturday, DSP versus the Internet, my daily react show, or my weekly react show on DSP Reacts. And Saturday night will be more, well, I guess it depends, because here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a poll. The poll will determine what we're going to be doing that night. And we'll probably put the poll up tomorrow morning on the podcast. And likely the poll will be, do you want extra Final Fantasy VII, or excuse me, extra Final Fantasy V? Do you want extra Star Wars, right? I'm debating bringing back Elden Ring, but I'm almost thinking having Elden Ring on a pause right now makes sense. I don't know if bringing back Elden Ring this week for 1 or 2 2-hour streams is going to do much of a difference and really satisfy many people. I'm thinking maybe leave it on a hard pause until things slow down with gaming within like a month and then bring it back, and we can actually bring it back major into the rotation again. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking probably either extra Star Wars to see if we can get further in that, or extra Final Fantasy to see if we can get further in that, whichever it is. So we'll do a poll. And then Sunday will probably be more Star Wars paired with Final Fantasy. And then Monday will probably be Zelda paired with either Star Wars or Final Fantasy. And then Tuesday, again, more Star Wars. And we'll see, can we beat Star Wars by the end of the week? That would be great. It really would. It would absolutely be great to wrap up Star Wars during the week as well as Oblivion. That way we have way less games on the agenda moving forward. Okay? So next week, Friday, June 2nd is the release of Street Fighter 6. Yes, I'm playing it all day long. Yes, I'm playing it all day the next day. So that means that next week's React Day, which usually is a Saturday, will be delayed by 1 day, and I'm going to have it on that Sunday instead. Okay? And, yes, Diablo comes out that week, but we're not going to start Diablo 4 until it makes sense. So if we're playing Street Fighter 6 and we're having a good time, playing a single-player mode, balancing that with the trying out new characters, going online with them and all of that, and if we're doing that and we're having a good time, we're going to keep doing that. But if the momentum starts to slow down, people are like, all right, we want variety now, maybe after a few days, then maybe we could start Diablo 4, all right? Unless people are staunchly against Diablo 4, but it seems like people are on the fence about this. Some people absolutely want me to play Diablo 4 no matter what, and others are like, man, I don't know if it's going to work. You know, it's hard for me to judge because Diablo 3 did not work, but that was a different time. I mean, we're talking over 10 years ago. You know, before I was a live streamer, no interactions or anything like that. I even, you know, my video quality was terrible. I wasn't even doing direct capture or anything back then. I almost feel like Diablo 4 will be a better playthrough today because I have streams that cater to that kind of grindy style game, right? Like, take a look at Hades. If I played Hades as an offline single player playthrough, it probably would have sucked. But because it was an online multiplayer experience, Hades was a really great playthrough where people always showed up, engaged, supported, and loved that playthrough. And I almost feel like Diablo will be in a similar vein as that. Okay? So, let's think about it. We have time. We have about a week and a half to think about, you know, do we want Diablo 4 or not? If not, then we could always bring back Zelda, Final Fantasy V, or whatever else is left. If, you know, if we didn't finish Star Wars, we could bring those back to balance with Street Fighter 6, and those could be the games that I focus on at that point. Okay? Now, there's definitely a lot more games coming out in June. The next big one that I can think of is actually Final Fantasy 16. Okay? But, there are going to be more too. But again, I have to pick and choose the games that I'm going to play when I'm juggling so much. I know with a game like Street Fighter 6, this is going to be a game that's going to take a tremendous amount of time. Unlike other games, I can't just jump into Street Fighter 6 and start playing it. This is a game that when I pick a new character, I have to go into training mode, mess around there, learn their special moves, learn some basic combos and abilities. Then you got to slowly go online, try to learn this character through a series of matches before you can even really viably use them, right? It's going to take a while. For each character, it's going to take a while. And then on top of that, you got the new single-player mode that's also going to be interesting, where you create your own character, you go through a story where you're fighting enemies and you're leveling up and you're getting abilities and there's a narrative and everything in there. It's going to be a neat thing to do, and I'm excited for it. But at the same time, I get the feeling Street Fighter 6 will be a very time-consuming game. So, you know, that's what I mean. Like, do we really want to be starting other new games while I'm trying to play that? I mean, I don't know. So let's see what happens, okay? But yes, it's going to be an exciting month coming up, all right? It is. It's going to be a pretty exciting month. All kinds of festivities and things around Street Fighter 6 for sure. I know we're probably going to get a different crowd of people here who are here for fighting games, which we haven't had in a very long time. You know, they might want to see how I'm doing in the game, so go from there. Okay, so anyway, that's the deal for the short term. Long term, we already know what the next special event is going to be on the channel because we've already talked about it. It's going to be an Independence Day themed event, but it's not going to be on Independence Day. It's going to be that weekend before, probably July 2nd. It's going to be a marathon of gaming, probably some tier maker style stuff, some food, some good variety of stuff. So the question is, and we have to think about this over the course of the next month, what kind of stuff would you guys like to see me do that day, right? I'm thinking definitely some kind of gameplay, but what? Maybe Street Fighter 6 will be a big hit, and you'll want to see me do a series of special gimmick matches during that day. Maybe there'll be something else going on you'd like to see me focus on. Should I do more of a playthrough I'm already doing? Should I do something special as a one-off kind of special event? I don't know. We got to think about it, right? Food, my wife will likely take care of that. She'll probably be looking for American-style fair food that we can eat during the course of that event. You know, live taste testing and things like that. I definitely think that would be kind of exciting, okay? But outside of that, you know, tier maker stuff, I'm sure we could probably come up with some tier maker stuff as well, since you guys love the tier maker events. But let's talk about it and go from there. You guys outright told me you want that over a long form react, so I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that, okay? I'm now being asked by Carliga about Ask the King. Ask the King at this point is not even a concern. You know, it's my bi-monthly Q&A show. We do Q&A almost every day, right? And the fact that we're now inundated with all these games I need to play and everything, that's the priority. Ask the King is a show you do, you know, when you're trying to balance with everything else and you're trying to have variety. I don't really think it makes sense when we're in the middle of all these hot new games and everything that people want me to be playing and I'm not making enough progress. It basically goes on the back burner. When will it come back? I literally don't know, because June looks jam-packed with new games, so I don't even think it makes sense for June. Maybe sometime in July, right? Maybe we just skip an entire month here in May, and then it comes back in July, you know, as a revival, right? I guess we'll see. All right, so that's what's on the horizon, schedule-wise and all of that. I do want to say thank you guys, because obviously I had 2 straight weeks of amazing, outstanding support here on the streams. The streak did end a couple days ago, which is perfectly fine. Thanks to those who contributed to it, and thanks to those who continue to support the channel in any way. Anything today would be appreciated, whether it be memberships, gifted memberships, super chats, super stickers, tips. That's how I make my living. That crowdfunding support is literally the bread and butter support that I get that keeps my business going. Yes, I get ad revenue, but that's negligible. It's really all about the stream support, so thank you in advance to anyone who supports in any way. Yes, we have all of our usual rewards in effect. You know, I'll do a celebratory bubble blow if we hit 100 likes on today's stream. I will do a bubble blow if we hit our members goal for today, which is 640 members. We have tiered rewards for tips at 50, 100, and 150 bucks. All that would be greatly appreciated. Now, also, before someone brings it up, yeah, a bunch of memberships expired over the course of my day off. When I left on Tuesday night, we were at like 700 something, and now we're down to 630. I mean, it's to be expected. You know, probably we had a bunch of gifted memberships there at the end of April, and they all expired when I wasn't here. So maybe you might notice you're in the chat today and you're like, oh crap, I don't have a membership anymore. Yep, if you had a gifted membership last month, you know, at the end of the month, it's probably expired, but, you know, we'll see what happens. Perhaps if you'd like to support the community as a whole, gifted memberships are a great way to do that. Okay? Tips obviously would be tremendous right now to help out with everything going on. So thanks in advance to any support whatsoever. As you know, I will shout you out, get you on the leaderboard if appropriate for any contributions today. Just so you know, people already have contributed. My shout outs are at the end of the podcast. I have a lot to talk about on today's podcast, which is why I'm trying to move fast. So please understand, shout outs at the end. Okay, before we get to the Sony event, I would like to talk about Lord of the Rings Gollum, because that game came out today, and it was a game that I was actually considering playing because I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings. In fact, as I'm going to tell you, my wife and I watched a Lord of the Rings movie together last night, which was really nice on our day off, and because we were in a Lord of the Rings mood with Gollum coming out today. So the weird thing about Gollum was there were no early reviews at all. 0 early reviews. There was a review embargo until this morning. Now, it's very rare when a game would have a review embargo until the day that it comes out. Well, it turns out there's a very good reason. It's because The Lord of the Rings Gollum is one of the worst games of the year. It actually currently is the lowest reviewed game of the year on aggregate review sites like Metacritic, citing some samples such as thus. Number 1, the game is incredibly buggy and unpolished. One reviewer actually said, playing it on PS5, they counted the game crashed, get this, 120 times when they were trying to play and review the game. Interesting. Basically, reviewers are saying the game is a complete misrepresentation, meaning all that promotional material of the game that they showed to advertise it is completely false and fabricated. For example, they show side-by-side comparisons of screenshots. Here's the promotional screenshot, and it's Gollum, and he's all detailed, and he has 4 dialogue options. One's like, you know, attack with a big icon that's like a big violent fist, and one's like, you know, try to convince him, and one's like beg for your life, and one's like consult the precious or something like that, you know? So these are like the 4 options, right? Then they actually show the real game that came out today, and it's like Gollum, who looks like he's from, no exaggeration, an early Xbox 360 title. He's that poorly rendered. The dialogue options are just plain white text with no color, no fists, nothing, and instead of 4, there's only 2. So basically, they promoted this game is going to be absolutely a high-end, choose-your-own-adventure style Gollum game, and then the game came out, and it's literally dog shit, okay? A lot of people are saying the gameplay is incredibly boring, like super-duper outdated. It feels like a PS2-era game. And others are saying even the story, which you thought, well, maybe even if the game sucks, maybe the story would be good. The story is the story of Gollum, but it's the parallel storyline of what happened to Gollum at the, like, right before and during the events of the Fellowship of the Ring. Now, for those who don't know, the Fellowship of the Ring is the plotline where Bilbo Baggins decides to leave Hobbiton, and he leaves the One Ring with Frodo, who basically doesn't know it's the One Ring. Well, Gandalf discovers this and realizes forces of evil are going to be coming to Hobbiton soon to get this ring. And so Frodo starts this crazy journey of trying to get this ring out of Hobbiton to the elves. They get it to the elves. When they get it to the elves, they discover it is the One Ring. What are we going to do? Well, we basically need to find a way to protect it and destroy it. And so they form this fellowship with all these other characters, you know, elves and dwarves and men, and everyone comes together to try to get this into Mordor to destroy this ring so that evil can't get their hands on it. So that's the plotline of the Fellowship of the Ring. The problem is, this follows the plotline of Gollum. Now, all Gollum does during the Fellowship of the Ring is he leaves Mordor, he comes to Middle-earth, and he tries to stalk the Fellowship to steal the ring back because he used to have it and he wants it back. That's literally it. That's the whole plotline. He's not even in the Fellowship, really. He doesn't really become a major part of the story until The Two Towers, which is the next book/movie. So they made a game following an incredibly derivative storyline that doesn't really matter. Like, who cares how many times he fucking ate a fish or snuck by an orc or scratched his ass? All that matters is when he finally interacts with Frodo and Samwise in the second book and movie. Nobody cares about, you know, what he does during Fellowship, but that's what the whole game is about, apparently. And even the people who like Lord of the Rings who play the game are like, you definitely didn't need to play this game. It's just a waste of time because it's who cares what happened, right? So anyway, yeah, pretty stupid. You know, so it sucks because I was interested in the game. It sounded like a game that could be interesting because I like Lord of the Rings. But based on all these facts, I mean, why on earth would I spend any money or time on this thing, right? I knew I wasn't going to be able to play it now. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll save it. Maybe I'll play it later. Maybe it'll be something for the summertime as a downtime game. But now it's like, why on earth would I waste anything on this? And it just looks like one of those games that maybe it was a good idea at first, and they started development, and they just couldn't live up to any of the expectations or any of the promises that they kind of made along the way. And it just looks like a sad case of one of the worst games. So I guess it is what it is. Why would I waste time on that, right? So, okay, so Gollum is out. We didn't waste time on it, thank goodness. So now let's actually talk about what everyone wants me to talk about today. Yesterday was the big Sony event, Sony Showcase, or whatever they called it. And it covered a wide variety of gaming topics. I'm just going to go through several different ones here. These aren't in any particular order, but I just took a ton of notes. Alan Wake 2, coming out October 17th. It now has a release date. Okay, in fact, let me grab a piece of paper. Okay. Because what I like to do is write down some of the new dates that were actually discovered, and then eventually I'm going to make a big schedule out of this. So, Alan Wake 2, October 17th. From every report, it looks like Alan Wake 2 will be very, very horror-themed. Unlike the original game that was more suspense, this will have more of a horror twist to it. But outside of that, I didn't see much else. You know, it's the actor's returning, which is cool. The same guy who played Alan Wake in the first game is back. And obviously, I like Alan Wake 1, although admittedly, I did play the Alan Wake remake a couple years ago, and I don't feel like the game aged very well. I do feel like today, in the modern day, the game isn't as good as maybe it was over 10 years ago. But that's maybe because we've had so many other horror games and things that have advanced since then. Back then, I remember playing this game and being blown away because the story was very much a big, suspenseful mystery, supernatural. Like I said, it had ties to, like, Twin Peaks, among other major kind of suspenseful, weird things in media back then. But, you know, when I replayed that version, I was like, nah, it's not as good now, you know? But this one, you know, of course, they're modernizing it. I'm excited for it. It's in October, which is perfect timing for a game like this. So I am stoked for Alan Wake 2, October 17th, and I will be playing it, by the way. So, basically, the big announcement, let's just get this out of the way. Yes, it is official that Metal Gear Solid is getting this crazy amount of treatment now. But not how we thought at first. So there's two different things going on with Metal Gear right now. There's a Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, and then there's a remake of one of the games that's in the Master Collection. I know that sounds confusing. Allow me to break this down into separate parts, okay? So first of all, let's talk about the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. So this is going to include, hold on, I have the checklist here. It's going to include the following titles. Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid including the VR missions and special missions, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. So that's what's in this collection. However, there's sadly, some not good news. Alright? None of those games will have anything new added, nor will they even be remakes. It's just ports. So what they've done is they've taken existing versions of these games, and they're just going to port them into a collection that essentially is a glorified emulator. Okay? So, were you hoping that they were going to do new graphics, better controls, new music? Too bad. These are exactly the same versions you've already played before, just in one collection that you can play on a modern console. So if you've been dying to play Metal Gear Solid 1 on PlayStation 5, I mean, honestly, I'm one of those people, actually, because you guys have said, will you ever replay Metal Gear 1? And I was like, I'd love to, but there's no modern way to do it. The only way I had access to it was on my PS3, via the PS1 version, and I can't play on my PS3 anymore. So, basically, this would be a way for people with modern consoles to play these ports, but it's exactly the same versions you've already played. It's the PS1 version of Metal Gear Solid 1. It's the Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 from the HD collection that's been around for like 14 years or something crazy like that, right? Like, I'm trying to remember, when did I do my playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3? Was it 2011, 2012? So you're talking, they've been around 11, 12 years, and all they're doing is porting it. It's literally no improvements at all. Same exact version you've already played. So there you go. Does that sound exciting? The way I see it, for posterity purposes, if you've never played these games before, if you wanted to play more of the classic versions of these games, or you simply just want to be able to play them on a modern console, perfect. For me, I do want to have Metal Gear Solid 1, and I want to play it on a PS5. I absolutely do. So kind of for me, it makes sense. But for fans of Metal Gear, I don't see the point. You've already played the games. Why do you want to rebuy them? It kind of seems like a very underwhelming announcement to me. Which is kind of sad. I wish that they were actually putting more effort into this collection, but it just sounds like we're just porting everything once, you know, porting it over. Simple. However, there is news. They are remaking Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. And this is a full-fledged, from the ground up, new graphics, new controls. You know, apparently they did say they're going to bring back the original voice acting cast, but they're going to actually recast them and have them do new voice lines and stuff, I guess. So I guess it really is a true remake in the spirit of how they've been redoing the Resident Evils. It's going to be just like that. So that is in the works, and people obviously are excited for that. But it does beg the question. I have to ask this question. Maybe you guys can answer, because I don't know. Why start with Metal Gear Solid 3? I'm confused about that. Why didn't they start with 1 or even 2? I mean, 3 is a great game, but isn't it weird to start with the third? Imagine if they did Resident Evil Remake and they started with 3, right? Like, why would they do that? So, it does make me scratch my head. Why they decided to do it with that one, I don't know. Some people in the chat are saying, maybe because it's the first in the timeline of lore. I guess? Maybe? That's the only thing that really makes most sense, I guess? I don't know. And then to go from there, I guess? See, I don't know. I don't know about that. Pat the Trickster says it's regarded as the best. Is it? Is it? I don't know. Listen, I like Metal Gear Solid 3. I actually think it's a great game. But I thought that more people liked 2, honestly. I think a lot of people hold 2 in really high regard. So, maybe I'm wrong there. But, I don't know. Like, to me, it's like, it's weird that they're doing 3. But anyway, if I'm not mistaken, there's no release date for these, right? Like, there's no solid release date. That's not like they said, oh, the collection's coming out then and the remake's coming out then. They basically officially announced that they're existing, and that's it, correct? Okay. People are saying more people hated 2 because Raiden was the main character of it. I see. They're all held in high regard. 3 is seen as the best quality. 2 is the most interesting. Hobo X says, Metal Gear Solid 4 is actually in a horrible state because the game is nearly impossible to play at the moment. Even on a real PS3, it's hard. It doesn't boot on PS3 Super Slim. It crashes tons on the Slim. OG PS3 is basically required to even play the game. Well, interestingly enough, and I should follow up on this, when they announced the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, it's called the Master Collection 1. Which probably means they are planning a Master Collection 2 that's going to include 4 and 5 and maybe some derivative titles that have been in there over the years, perhaps. I think there have been some derivative titles on handhelds and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe that's what they're going to do. If the first collection is good, then they'll probably make 2. That's what I'm thinking. Right? Peace Walker, people are calling it. There you go. That's the one I'm thinking of. The spin-off game, Peace Walker. Yeah. So there you go. Okay, so that's some news. Another piece of news that I think shocked everyone because no one knew this was coming. Sony is getting back into the handheld market. Huh? Or are they? Because Sony announced something, it's called the Project Q. So get this. This will be a dedicated device launching later this year. It will let you play certain PlayStation 5 games remote play over your Wi-Fi system. It features a 1080p screen that runs at 60 frames per second and it has an 8-inch vibrant LCD screen. So what's hilarious about this is, if you're hearing all of this, this might sound familiar to you, because it is familiar to you. It's called the PS Vita. The PS Vita had this exact same feature. It actually synced with your PS4, and you were able to remote play games from your PS4 on your Vita. However, I'm sorry to report, as someone who personally used this feature, it was junk. No exaggeration. Up here would be my console. Literally one floor down, I'd have the Vita, and it wouldn't work. It would disconnect constantly and be laggy and conk out. And I have a good router and a good modem and everything. Like, it's not like, oh, your equipment's bad. No, I have good connection and everything. My phone is, my phone's connected to the network and never has an issue. I can watch video all over the house or whatever. But this thing never worked right. It was always a buggy mess that would be slow and disconnect and not run very well. My wife wanted to use this at one point. She was interested in remote playing games if she could, and it never worked. It just would die, constantly disconnect, and it just wasn't worth it. So we never used it. All right? So unless they have dramatically improved the technology in this thing from the Vita days, I don't think it's going to be even worth the money of what it's going to be. And the other thing is, how limited is that? How many people, I own a PS5, but I don't want to play my PS5 at the TV the PS5 is at. I want to be able to move only around my house on my local Wi-Fi and play my PS5 remotely. Like, maybe you're playing a game, you're like, I'm going to sleep, and I want to play my PS5 in bed. So you take it with or maybe you're taking it. Okay, I got it. I've got it. All right? I know exactly what's going to happen. You ready for this? You're playing a PS5 game, and all of a sudden, you got to take a raging shit. But you're in the middle of something important. You don't want to put it down. So you go into your bathroom, and as you're dropping bombs in the game, see what I'm saying? So there you go. That's the only thing, from a standpoint of, a realist here, even someone like me who maybe would take advantage of it, I couldn't. It didn't work on the Vita. So I would hope that they've advanced the technology. Maybe the wireless technology is better now or whatever. I don't know. But it sure didn't work with the Vita. And it sounds like it's just a Vita Lite, because this thing doesn't play games by itself. It needs a PS5 in the household, and the PS5 just broadcasts to it. So I don't know. It seems like a very limited idea, and I don't know how many people would take advantage of this and want it realistically. It does make me kind of scratch my head, but at the same time, maybe it'll be good. Up next, Assassin's Creed Mirage has a release date, October 12th. So only 5 days before Alan Wake 2. October's starting to get stacked already as a game release one. So, Assassin's Creed Mirage, set in a map that's exactly the same size as Assassin's Creed Unity, plays like a traditional Assassin's Creed game. No more huge open world. No more, Witcher 3 vibes and combat. It's all stealth. Story will be around 15 hours long. Now, I guess there will be some side content, but for the most part, most people are going to beat this game relatively quickly. It's not going to be a super long game. Okay? I do have a question. Is it going to be full price? Are they going to attempt to charge $80 for a game that they are outright saying, hey, we admit it's short? On purpose. Like, we purposely designed it to be shorter to be a more classic Assassin's Creed experience. Because the question there is, you just sold a bunch of Assassin's Creed games over the last 5 years that are all like 60 plus hours long. And you charged full price. So now how can you charge full price for a game that you're outright saying up front is only like 15 hours long, right? So I would hope they're going to sell it for a discounted price. Actually, people are saying, yes, it's been announced. It's $49.99. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to write that down here. I didn't catch that. So apparently it's only $50, a discounted price, because they're admitting that it's not going to be a full-fledged game or as lengthy as the previous Assassin's Creed games. So there you go. If you like the classic Assassin's Creed experience, you've been waiting desperately for a classic Assassin's Creed experience, it sounds like you're going to finally get it, which is good, obviously. So let's see, but I'm down for that. We haven't had Assassin's Creed in a bit. Bungie is making a new game called Marathon. If you don't know, Marathon was a game that they made back in the 90s, but it's being revived for PS5 and PC. It's a sci-fi PvP extraction shooter that will feature crossplay and cross-save. Actually, I know what it's going to be. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? They're just making Halo again. No, I'm serious. Bungie can't help but just make more Halo. Like, I actually listened to a whole documentary. It was actually an audiobook on the development of Destiny. And the documentary revealed that Bungie, when they sold Halo and wanted to make a new game franchise, were intending to make a totally new game from the ground up. And then during development, they realized all they could do is make Halo, so they remade Halo and called it Destiny. They admit it. In the documentary, it's fucking, they outright say it. The management of the company said, yeah, it's just Halo again. So, do you really think, realistically, there's going to be any kind of variety to this game? It's just another first-person shooter. I guarantee you it's going to be Halo in another form. But, will it be good? I guess we'll find out. But anyway, yes, Bungie is making a new game, and there you have it. Talos Principle 2, this was shocking to me. They're making a sequel to Talos Principle. Do you guys remember that game? That's a game I played a long time ago. And it basically dealt with some interesting topics. Basically, all humans had been destroyed. All that were left were these, like, cyborgs with AI in them. And you were going around solving all these crazy, like, laser puzzles and stuff. And the further you got into the game, you kept finding out more and more about how humans didn't exist anymore, but they were, like, AIs in this virtual environment now. I guess the world had ended. And the question is, was anything you were even seeing real or not? Or was it all virtual? Were all humans stuck inside of, like, some kind of an AI device or a computer somewhere because the world had ended? I never beat it. I got far, but man, it was tough. It was a tough game. And back then, I didn't do interactive streams, so it wasn't like people were helping me to solve the puzzles. I was trying to figure everything out by myself, and it was a really difficult game. So I got pretty far in it, but eventually I just kind of dropped it. A lot of people asked me over the years would I ever go back to it because they had loved the playthrough, but I never continued it, you know? So I don't know. Maybe I would actually play Talos Principle 2 or not. I don't know. That's coming out later this year, supposedly. No release date. By the way, that was a big theme of the Sony event. No solid release date. Every game was like, oh, it's coming out in the fall. It's coming out by the end of the year or whatever. It's like, that doesn't give us a date, right? Like, we don't know when it's coming out yet. So, continuing. One of the biggest reveals was Spider-Man 2, which I officially believe they should now rename this game Spider-Men. It's not Spider-Man's. It's not Spider-Man, the Spider-Man 2. It's Spider-Men. Why can't we just call it Spider-Men? It's two men who are Spider-Man. Spider-Man. I mean, they're missing a big opportunity here, in my opinion. Just call it Spider-Man. And then no one would confuse it with anything else. But anyway. So, yes, Spider-Man 2. Now, just as we had surmised at the end of Spider-Man 1 and the Miles Morales spinoff, yes, you could play as both Spider-Man and Miles Morales in this game. And at least in some of the gameplay, they showed that you switch between. It's not apparent if it'll be like that for the whole game, but it did show that. But the thing that we weren't expecting is that Peter Parker, the original Spider-Man, gets the symbiote suit in this game. And the symbiote suit is essentially the Venom symbiote before it belongs to Venom. And it's what turns Spider-Man to be kind of like a bully and extreme in his ways. He goes from the goody two-shoes hero type into, you know, violent vigilante, essentially. And you see that with some of the combat you see here in the demo that they showed, is that he's doing these violent combos. The symbiote is doing like big tendrils, you know, big slamming and everything against these basically human criminals. Like, isn't that a little extreme? The thing is, were you expecting that? Yeah, I kind of thought maybe at some point in the Spider-Man plotline they would do it. I didn't think they would do it in the direct sequel. Like, I thought they would wait a bit. But, yeah. So, anyway, that's coming up. So that's interesting because now you'll have the dynamic of maybe Miles and Peter are friends and they're working together to protect New York City. But then when Spider-Man gets the symbiote suit, all of a sudden now he starts to change to this more, you know, violent vigilante. Now Miles is kind of warning him, what are you doing? And then maybe what happens is they have to fight each other and Miles has to get the suit off of him so he becomes his old self. And maybe they fight. Maybe at the end there's Venom or something. Who knows, right? But it seems like that's what they're going for. How does that sound? It sounds passable. Like, the whole black suit Spider-Man has been done a lot, both in comic books and in video games already. And so to me, this isn't something that feels like it's a new territory that we're treading. It's very old territory, actually. At the same time, it's a perfectly passable and very meaningful plot line in the Spider-Man universe. I just don't know if I'm as sold on this as if it were a new story. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they went with something completely new, maybe I would like it more. I'm still going to like it, don't get me wrong, especially if the gameplay elements are good, if the graphics are good. But to me, it is a little bit deflating that they're doing a plot line that's already been done again. I mean, one of my earliest games that I ever played for YouTube was Spider-Man Web of Shadows. And guess what was in that game? Symbiotes all over the fucking place. Symbiote here, symbiote there, fighting the symbiotes. You know, the final boss was fucking Venom, super roided. So it's like, we've already kind of done this, right? And I guess we'll see how it goes. Again, I'm not being negative towards it. I'm just being factual here. It's been done already. But hopefully it'll be good. I guess we'll find out, okay? Hopefully it will be good. So, anyway, when's it coming out? Fall 2023. No actual date. Anyway, let's see. What else did I take notes here on? Oh, so there is a new game. This is hilarious. It's a game. I'm actually wondering what took so long for this to happen. Finally, someone has copied Splatoon. It took the longest time. What, a decade? But finally, someone has copied Splatoon. It's Square Enix. They're making a game called Foam Stars that essentially looks like a combination of Fortnite and Splatoon. It's got Fortnite-like graphics. Okay? Very Fortnite-esque. But you're spraying foam goo everywhere. And it almost looks very, very similar graphically to Splatoon. Like, they're outright trying to copy the whole idea, but say that it's a new game when in reality it isn't. But I guess they feel they waited long enough, and if they make the characters look a little different, they won't be attempted to, like, copy or whatever. But I just think it's kind of funny because, you know, Splatoon is this weird oddball franchise in the Nintendo lineup that is this oddity. It's all multiplayer. It's got a weird, quirky universe, its own art design. It doesn't really cross over with anything that Nintendo really does. You know what I mean? And it's been very popular. And now we finally got a game that's going to try to compete with it, and I wonder what's going to happen. Will it fail, or will it succeed? Personally, I have no clue. But we've seen a lot of these games similar to this come out recently and flop within like 6 months to a year, right? I look at games like, what was that one? Like the Slam City or whatever, or the volleyball one from a couple years ago, that they came out, they're stylized, look, they're going to be so much fun, and people play them for like a month and then never play them again. And I'm wondering if that's going to happen with this too, or if this will actually stand out and get a game that has longevity. I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of interesting to see someone try to copy Splatoon after so long. Dragon's Dogma 2 has been officially announced, although we already knew it was being made. It's now been officially announced, but again, of course, there's no date. Dragon's Dogma 1, a game that most of you probably don't remember. A game that I played many, many years ago, back in the day when I was, you know, way more popular on YouTube, and I remember playing it right before going to a convention. The night before, there was a DLC for it, and I was trying to rush through this DLC and beat the DLC before I went to a convention. I don't think I did. I think I got really far in it, but I didn't beat it. I didn't know. I guess the DLC was like 15 hours long, and I thought it was like 4. But, anyway, like, you know, Dragon's Dogma was a great game. I remember back in the day, the graphics were great at the time. It had this open world atmosphere where you could run around and jump and attack enemies and take them over and take them down for weak point damage. And it was a unique combination of gameplay elements that came together to be a pretty unique, coherent whole, and I really liked the game. And now, over the years, I guess, it's gotten way more and more of a big following. It's funny, because I'm one of the people who played a giant full playthrough of that game on YouTube back in the day. A lot of people didn't. And then I guess it gained a lot of popularity over time. So now the sequel, a lot of people are hyped for it. I liked the first one, so I'd probably like the second one. Okay? It is a grindy game, though. There's a lot of grinding in the game where you're going around and killing the same enemies and trying to get components and stuff. So I could definitely see it being more of a game that's going to take longer and have a more chill aspect to it, but I would be down for that. Okay? Let's see here. Let's see. Ellipsian says, you really need to replay the game with Dark Arisen DLC sometime before the second. Maybe a viewer's choice. Maybe. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. If people want me to see me replay, it's been so long since the game came out, right? Okay. What else? I'm trying to think if there's anything else off the top of my head. Can anyone else think of something from the Sony event that I really haven't mentioned that was kind of interesting? Because I think I've covered most of the major stuff. But if anyone has anything else they'd like to bring up, let me know. Tag me in the chat. Phantom Blade Zero, yeah, I missed that thing. I don't even know what that is. A lot of people said Phantom Blade. I didn't see anything about it. So. Anyway, so a jam-packed event. I mean, if anything, we got 2 dates, right? Assassin's Creed Mirage, October 12th. Alan Wake 2, October 17th. So October is starting to get filled up. But outside of that, it's funny because a lot of the games that looked great don't have release dates. And that's frustrating when you're trying to figure out what you want to play and when you want to play it. And nothing has a release date. And all of a sudden what will happen is in like a month or two, everything will release its date for the same week. It'll be like, oh, no, November 3rd. November 3rd, November 5th, November 7th. 14 games are coming out. And like, what? This is what happens every year. Okay. Oh. What am I the most hyped for? Oh, man. I mean, it's a tough question. A lot of the stuff, I mean, SpiderMan, I know is going to be a solid game. I'm going to enjoy it. Alan Wake 2, I hope is good. I really liked Alan Wake 1 when it was new, but like I said, it hasn't aged well. So I'm wondering if the sequel will be good. I don't know. I hope so, but I'm feeling positive about it. You know, a new Assassin's Creed that's more traditional sounds good to me. Various different things, you know. Various games sound good to me. So, there you go. All right, that's pretty much the Sony event. That's what I got to talk about. The last segment before we get to shoutouts is Phil's day off. All right, now, I don't have tons to talk about my day off yesterday. Essentially, last week was a super busy week for us where we had to run around and do all the shopping. This week, luckily, we did not, which is good because guess what? My car is on a donut. My car is on a spare tire right now. As I wait for my replacement tire to show up, which I ordered, so I gotta wait. It's supposed to come either like Friday, Saturday-ish. Yes, that will affect our streams. I'll let you know when the tire arrives because they're supposed to contact me, and then I gotta get the car to that shop, and they're gonna change it out, and then, you know, so we'll see what happens there. And I'll let you know if it's gonna affect streams or not. It very well might. It might affect my streams this weekend. We'll see. But outside of that, you know, it was a basic day of me going around doing basic stuff like grocery shopping and errands. I saw a horrible, horrible car accident that I don't even know how it happened, all right? So, basically, when I go a certain direction from my home towards a town, there's one town that has a lot of good shopping and stuff in it, and I go there to go to, like, a pet store and stuff like that. So, I'm on the way over there, and the major way to go there, there's an overpass that's like a bridge. I don't know if it's a highway. I've seen trains go over it, though. And you have to go under this, it's like an underpass. You go under the overpass, and then it's a big hub. Everyone has to take this. If you don't take this one road, okay, you have to go, like, no exaggeration, 2-3 miles in another direction to get to another way to get to where you're going. So, really, this is like a bottleneck where a lot of people have to drive all day, every day. The weird part about this underpass, there's no turns. It's literally like a stretch of just straight road. So, how you could have a car accident there is kind of weird to me. But, so I'm driving around on my day off to do errands, and all of a sudden it's just bumper-to-bumper traffic as I'm approaching the underpass, and I'm like, this is not good. And you're looking, oh yeah, a fire truck has parked across the entirety of the road blocking oncoming traffic. And I'm like, wow, that's got to be awful then. Something really bad happened, right? If they're going to block all the traffic, that's got to be terrible. So, I ended up completely going all the way this long-term way, out of the way route. It basically diverted me for about 20-some minutes. And did all my shopping and everything I needed to do. And when I was coming back home, I still had to go under that underpass, but the other direction. Well, they were allowing traffic through the other direction. And when I was driving back, I was just like, let me put it this way. 2 vehicles. One was an SUV, and one was like a compact car. Both vehicles were completely demolished at the driver's side area. So if you think of the logistics of how the physics of how this happened, it means they had to have been driving almost like at each other and hit each other head on at that angle, or one turned into the other. But again, the weird thing about this is there's no turns there. It's straight. So why someone was turning, this is really weird. The way that it happened. And also, like I said, these cars were demolished. This wasn't like, oh, a little bit of minor damage. One car, the compact car, basically, it was the quarter quadrant of the driver's side all the way to the middle center was smashed and destroyed inward, meaning like an oncoming car went right into it. And the SUV was so damaged, all right, the entire front of the car was flattened like a pancake, and the entire front quadrant where there should be a wheel, the wheel was split off the axle and flat on the ground, flopping like this. The car was completely demolished, and you had two guys working on these cars trying to separate them, and you should see their faces. These guys, their faces were like, holy shit, like, how are we gonna get these cars apart? Because you can tell they were, like, smashed together, and they were trying to, like, rip them apart the way they had hit. But it was so weird, again, because there's no turns. I could see, like, okay, it's a big, busy intersection with a bunch of turns, right? And one person is turning, and another person's an asshole flying, and then they collide at high speed. It's just a straight underpass. Like, you can't even turn any direction. So I have no clue how that happened. It was weird as hell. And it threw me off for sure, because I was like, dude, I don't really see accidents like that around here. I've seen accidents, but I never see like a crazy accident, and you got to wonder, about loss of life in a horrible accident like that. So it basically, it was shocking. It shook me a little bit to see shit like that. Like, oh my God, right? Good news is, I drove around on the spare tire. I had zero issues. The only thing, the spare tire was very low air, which I didn't realize at first. So I filled it up. I have a home pump. I filled it up. Drove around on it fine for the shopping I needed to do. Absolutely no problems. I mean, realistically, that tire's never been used. I could probably drive on it for a bit if I needed to, but I ordered the tire right away. I need to get a tire right away. It'll be here by the end of the week, and again, I'll let you guys know if it affects our streams tomorrow or Saturday or however it will affect them, if it will. Maybe it won't. Maybe the tire will show up, and I'll be able to just drop it off in the morning before the stream and pick the car up after the stream, and then we're done. It won't affect anything. That would be ideal, but I don't know if that's going to be the situation. Okay? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, so there you go. And when I came home, my wife and I ordered from somewhere new. We actually ordered from a Thai restaurant for dinner. And I ended up getting a Thai curry dish, which I've never had before. It was actually a Thai noodle curry where they combined what they called like their yellow or golden curry with these rice noodles and a bunch of vegetables. It was like carrots, peppers, onions, green beans, basil, and there was one or two other things in there too, with chicken and egg. So it had fried egg and chicken all mixed in, and it was spicy. See, the funny part is, at these places you can order a spice level, right? Now, I'm not a big spice guy. I like spice, but I don't want crazy amount of spice. So you could order 0 to 5. I ordered a 2, and even the 2 was pushing it for spice level for me. Like, I was like, dude, if I ordered a 3, I probably wouldn't have been able to eat this. So can you imagine someone ordering a 5, right? Pretty insane. So, yeah, and my wife also got a noodle dish as well. Hers, I think, had a peanut sauce to it. As you know, Thai food, they love peanuts. So I think she got one that had like a peanut sauce in it. And it was good. We almost never get Thai food ever. And this was a brand new place we tried, and it was really good. So we were pleased with our dinner. And then we sat down and we had a relaxing night watching The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring together. Why? Because we were in the mood, because Gollum was coming out this week, and we've been talking about Lord of the Rings recently, so we decided to watch it, and we loved watching it together. It was on HBO Max, which is now just called Max. So we watched it on there, and had a relaxing night. That was my day off. Nothing major to really talk about, nothing too crazy. A good relaxing day home for sure. Okay? All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to shout-out, shall we? Okay. Let's begin. So, Tyler became a member this morning. Thank you, Tyler, for the membership. I appreciate that very much. As I said, we did lose quite a bit of memberships over my day off, which is fine. There was like over 100 gifted memberships from the end of April that expired, but it's all good. Want to consider maybe re-upping your membership or supporting the community by becoming a member or gifting some memberships today? That would be outstanding, okay? Clyde Baxter re-upped his membership. Yes, basically, this stupid meme, this emote meme with cherries is very disgusting. And if I see it, I'm just going to ban people outright. I'm not even going to say nothing. I'm literally not even going to address it. If I see people spamming cherries in the chat, it's an instant ban. And I'm moving on. Because someone explained it to me what it was. It's fucking disgusting, and I want nothing to do with it. So enjoy your permanent ban if you try it. Let's see how long this lasts, right? Okay. T. Mort has done a super chat. Thank you. Tyler did a super chat. Says, I love your streams. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Tyler. PS3 Troop became a member for 2 years. There's one. Someone wanted to test me. Enjoy your permanent ban. Boy, you're stupid. I mean, you really gotta. It's like, oh, there's a hornet's nest. Let me strike it and see what happens. Well, now you know, stupid. So PS3 Troop re-upped their membership for 2 years, earning the Rose Gold Crown. Thank you, PS3 Troop. And he says, hey, how's it going? Fairly good. I'm excited for a day of gameplay today and chilling with you guys and making more advancement in you know, Jedi Survivor, which has been a better game recently, even though the graphics still aren't holding up. The rest of the game is solid, and I'm excited to see what happens today. Today we're back on Kobo. We have a new area to explore in Kobo today, probably a new dungeon. Right? So, see how it goes. But I think we're going to have a good time here with gaming today. And, of course, Oblivion ending will also be awesome. Okay? Patrick did a super chat. He says, new Lord of the Ring Gollum game got bad reviews. Yes, we've already addressed that. Thank you, Patrick. Hamburger 9000 did a super chat. He says, your streams so far this year have been positive. Seems you're ready for some fun stuff. Safe to say, you're getting that groove back. Well, there you go. It's a meme, by the way, from like 5-6 years ago or something crazy like that. Lies for Soul is here to a $10 tip and apparently is telling some horrible story that I don't want to repeat. I don't need to know about that, Lies for Soul. It has nothing to do with us, but I appreciate your super chat regardless. Thank you for the support. And then I got another super chat from Easy Steve, who says, I'm late to the stream. Any thoughts on Final Fantasy 16? A lot of people who have gotten the preview seem to be praising it left and right. Again, Easy Steve, I'm purposefully trying to stay away from any information about the game because I don't want to spoil myself. But everything I've heard is great. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure in June. And QA also just did a super chat, and that is the latest super chat. So let's get QA on the leaderboard. Thank you, QA. I appreciate that very, very much. Okay. Now, let's swing over to the YouTube side of things, shall we? Actually, Jade says, pre-order bonus for MKX and 11 and now 1 all bosses. Oh, Jade is saying basically every single time that there was a pre-order bonus for a Mortal Kombat game, it's always been a boss, right? Even this new one coming up, Mortal Kombat 1, it's Shang Tsung. He says, so what's next? Yeah, it's interesting. I guess people just like that, right? People are liking having the bosses as the pre-order bonus. There you go. Okay. So, let us get to the tip side of stuff. We start off today with a $5 tip. From Gothi Senpai. Thank you, Gothi Senpai, for the first tip of the day. Let's get you up on the leaderboard. Let's get you the first animation of the week, and let's hope these work because they stopped working the other night. And then I restarted and they started working again, so let's hope that they're working right out of the gates. Let's find out. It's loading. Okay, it worked. That's a good sign. A good start. Okay. Gothi Senpai says, Phil, I hope you're doing all right. I saw a lot of great games at the event yesterday. I can't wait for you to stream some of them when they release. Your fans are always here to wish you well, to support you in times of need and to wish you well. So have an awesome day. Thank you so very much. Very, very nice of you to say that. And I appreciate that very much. So thank you. Good to have you here on the stream. Let's see here. I got a $1 tip. Someone's asking a silly question, so I'm just going to ignore it. There you go. Because it's actually a troll, by the way. So they're trying to be stupid about it. So I received a $4.20 tip from Big Papa Pump. He says, this isn't a lot, but I hope this will help offset some of the stuff that's been happening recently. Thank you, Big Papa Pump. I appreciate that. It's good to have you here today. Okay. Nice animation as well. Awesome. Oops, I misclicked now. Oh, I don't want to delete something too early. There we go. I received a $1.25 tip From Pickle Nipple saying, did you mention Immortals of Avenum or Ghost Runner 2? No. Ghost Runner 2 is the sequel to Ghost Runner, a game that, quite frankly, I saw someone play and I thought it looked incredibly boring. So I don't really have much to say about that. I don't know anything about Immortals of Avenum. Didn't see that. So I missed that one. Thank you for the tip. Excuse me. Then I got a $2 tip. See here. Dr. Oink with a $2 tip. Thank you, Dr. Oink, for the $2 tip. I appreciate that. What's funny is, Kevin in the chat just said, since it seems like there's almost no exclusives, does it sound like buying a PS5 is worth it right now? Well, the question is if there's no exclusives on Xbox and there's no exclusives on PS5, then it makes it even, doesn't it? Right? Doesn't it kind of make it even? Right? Just saying. I mean, really, that's kind of been the whole landscape, this gaming console era, this whole generation, is that there really hasn't been a definitive reason to own one console over the other, right? There, you know, the few and far between exclusives that there are, sometimes there's a diamond in the rough. Like, let's be honest, the God of War games, super outstanding games. Ragnarok was great. But since Ragnarok, what's the last other PS5 game that you absolutely needed to play? What's the last Xbox Series S or X game you absolutely needed to play? I would say Halo Infinite when it came out, not anymore. So, you know, everything now is just cross-platform and decent. So it doesn't really feel like anything that needs to really be talked about. Just buy whatever you want. Do you like the PlayStation 5 because of the feel of the controller? Do you like DualSense? Do you like the adaptive triggers? You know, do you like some of their exclusives? Do you like the Xbox because of its controller? Do you enjoy Quick Resume, which works a lot better on Xbox? You actually have multiple games on Quick Resume. Do you like the idea of Game Pass? You know, like, those are the selling points now. It's not, oh, there's this killer app that's on the console and you must own that console. It almost feels like those days of the console wars in that regard are over, okay? Okay. All right. So thank you guys so far. That's what I got to shout out. All right. Any other support today would obviously be greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance. Sadly, I already feel like I got to turn on my air conditioner. It's already 82 degrees in here, which sucks. I was hoping to not have to turn on the air conditioner today, but I guess that was wishful thinking. I'll turn it on to like 74 here. I'll actually turn off the fan. Hold on. I'll turn off the big fan in the back then. Yeah. The problem is, with days like today, even though it's not hot outside, I think today it's probably high 60s, low 70s outside in Washington. The sun is out fully beating on my office wall, and that heats the office up by at least 10 to 15 degrees. And because of that, I need to have the air conditioner on, which sucks. So sorry, I was hoping to maybe keep it off, but it sounds like we got to have it on today. Moxford says PS5 is more recognizable exclusives than Xbox, and generations aren't like PS2 to PS3. The PS5 is not just dramatically different from PS4. Plus, Xbox stopped competing in the same way. Again, like just an apples to apples comparison. If you were to look at console exclusive, there's probably like 3 decent console exclusives on PS5 and probably like 1 on Xbox. But it's not like they're make or break decisions. You know what I'm saying? I think for me, it's more ease of use decisions. Do you like Game Pass style decision? That's the more important decision this console gen, which is good. I'd much rather have that be the deciding factor. That's more consumer friendly, honestly, right? Than, oh, I absolutely needed to buy the console just to play this one game, and I probably don't use the console ever again. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing in my opinion. Okay, so QA had done a bunch of super chats here. One joking about stealing his mother's credit card, which isn't funny, by the way. You shouldn't make jokes like that. Ian re-upped his membership for 5 months and says the cherry emote seems harmless. It is not. I'm just telling you, it's a disgusting meme, and it should not be used. And if it's used, you will be banned, and I'm saying it outright. No other justification is required. There's your answer. It's my stream, my decision. Don't do it. Spawn Killer did a super chat and says Immortals was like the first game they showed. I missed it. Like I said, I didn't watch the presentation. I was going through all this news coverage of the presentations that other people did, and basically there's a trailer. I clicked the trailer, watch. I didn't see anything about this Immortals. I missed it. So, oh well. I'm sure if it's interesting, I'll learn about it later. QA did another super chat. Said, I've been watching for 10 years. Is Cooking with the King coming back? No. It's not coming back ever. Okay. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. Spawn Killer did a super chat. He says Phantom Blade looks good. That's another one that I kind of missed. I didn't see anything about it. I'll have to look into it. Phantom Blade and Immortals are two that I missed. Okay. Now QA did a super chat. He says, don't make me cry, Phil. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to make you cry. It's your choice if you want to cry, right? But I'm not just going to do things because people demand them. That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't just do things on command or in demand, all right? I appreciate your super chats, though. Let's see here. Why don't I talk about Final Fantasy 16? It's a $1 tip, by the way. Why don't I talk about Final Fantasy 16? The game is going to be great. Because, again, I don't really need to talk about it. I know it's going to be good. I'm excited for it. I'm hyped for it. And I refuse to spoil myself on it. So I'm not following the coverage of it on purpose. That way, when I play the game, I can enjoy it as a brand new game and be pleasantly surprised rather than saying, oh, yeah, that game that I heard everything about and I know what's coming in the first 100 hours of the game. I'm literally staying away from all news about Final Fantasy 16. That way, it could be a great, honest playthrough. Most people probably won't have great, honest playthroughs of the game because there is so much coverage of it, right? So I'm staying away. QA did another super chat saying, I'm not demanding or commanding. It's a simple question. And I answered it. I said, no, I'm not doing Cooking with the King. And then you said, well, don't make me cry. So that's kind of like a, you know, something to say, oh, well, if you don't do something, I'm going to cry. You understand? You get it? Thanks for the super chat. Okay. Ansel Kamara says, I'm doing that too. Square Enix is just throwing way too much information out there. I don't want to spoil. I'm literally not paying. I'm paying less attention to Final Fantasy 16 than I did to 15. Really. I really don't know that much about it at all on purpose. But I'm excited for it. I bet it's going to be a great game. Oh, really? Moxray says Alan Wake 2 is going to be digital only and $60. That's interesting. That's interesting because I've been telling you guys that I feel like they're going to be going that way soon. These games, their physical copies are going to be a thing of the past. It's only going to be for collector's editions. There's no reason for them to make physical copies when that's not even the game anymore. So, I'm telling you, give it another 3-4 years, you're going to see all physical copies phased out. It's going to be all digital. Digital, unless you buy the special edition for extra money. Mark my words on that. I know what I'm talking about. Don't even question it. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Ramrod immediately questioned it. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable behavior. Okay. Digital-only gaming is a scam. Okay. I'll remember that as I boot up my digital-only copy of Jedi Survivor, my digital-only copy of Oblivion, my digital-only copy of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, my digital-only copy of Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. When I play Street Fighter 6 digital-only, I'll just remember how badly I'm getting scammed all along. Okay. All right. Hold on a second. Oh. All right. What do we want to talk about? Tyler says, do you think the digital version is the reason why the frame rate is bad? No. Just the game is poorly optimized. It has nothing to do with the physical or digital. It doesn't affect anything. Will I do a tier maker of Final Fantasy games before 16 comes out? No. Only because I don't feel like I'm equipped to do that. I would need to play more of the classics, like 1, 2, and 3. I should absolutely play before I do that. And I have those in the Pixel Remaster collection. In addition, I want to replay games like 13 and stuff like that. It's been too long. 12 we could play. I haven't played. Like, that's like years down the line. If I played through all the Final Fantasies, then we could do that tier maker. But it doesn't make sense to do it when a lot of the key games I haven't played, I can't really give a valid opinion on. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Dr. Oink took me $1 asking, do I want to play Diablo? No. I don't want to play Diablo with you. As usual, it'll be a solo playthrough. Which will be fine with an interactive audience. As long as we have a chill audience that's hanging out with me, it'll be a fun playthrough, I feel. Oh, excuse me. Gut says he's trying to map out all of Hyrule Kingdom in Tears of the Kingdom. He did a lot of the shrines. Probably takes forever, right? Like I said, I personally know someone who's played the game for 90 hours and said they're not near the end of the game yet, so... Space Marines 2 gameplay release looks incredibly good. I'm hyped for it. Do you remember your Space Marine 1 playthrough? Excuse me. That's the Warhammer game, right? I honestly don't remember it. It's been so long, I don't remember it. So, no. Can't really say too much about that. How long have I been on YouTube? Longer than most. Longer than most. No, I've never ridden in a food van. My car is fine. It's sitting in the driveway or in the garage with the spare tire on it. Nothing's happening with it. Yes, I'm playing Street Fighter. Revelatory, what on earth are you going to check out Street Fighter 6? No, I'm skipping it. What are you talking about? Of course I'm playing Street Fighter 6. Right? We're talking about this daily, how hype I am for it, how much time it's going to take up. What a question. Do I like grapes? I do enjoy grapes. I think that they're tasty. Different kinds of grapes, too. Am I going to play the Destiny 2 expansion? Absolutely not. Under no circumstance. Can I still make turns with my spare tire? Yes, in fact. So, when I drove my car home on the spare, it was handling poorly. It was because the spare tire was very low. You know, that spare tire has been in the trunk of the car since I bought it. It's been 6 years. The spare tire was incredibly low. So when I came home, I pumped it up, and now it drives fine. It drives absolutely fine. No problem. I am absolutely fluent in Mandarin Chinese. How did you know that? Absolutely. There you go. I never had cotton candy grapes. I've heard they're good, but I've never had cotton candy grapes. When I was growing up, my parents always bought those white grapes, so I'm more familiar with those, but I've had purple grapes. I like those too, but I don't know what the cotton candy grapes taste like. Pat the Trickster says, ever a game you hated at first, but you grew to like it over the years from replaying it? In reality, most of the games that I said I didn't like and that I grew to love is because I just was stupid and I didn't give them a fair shake, like Minecraft. That was a game I unfairly hated on for years and years, and then when I finally started playing it, I understood kind of, you know, the appeal, and then years later, I did a full, like, year-long playthrough of it, and I loved it. So, usually it's just ignorance that makes me speak like that. I don't think there's ever been a game that I hated, and then over time I grew to love. No, I don't think so. Okay, so final opportunity if you'd like to ask a question before we begin with Star Wars gameplay today. And again, for those of you who've beaten Star Wars, if you can give me an estimation, as you'll see when we start today and as we play through, how much longer I have, because I want to try to gauge if this is the game I should try to finish this week or not. If not, I might make more of a push for Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster. Excuse me. The goal here is to try to beat something this week, so I have way less that I'm juggling when Street Fighter comes out, okay? I do like watermelon. I think watermelon is very delicious and very hydrating. I like the hydration aspect of it. What do white grapes taste like? You only heard of green and purple. The green ones are called white grapes. If you didn't know, they don't call them green grapes. They call them white, even though they're green. I don't know why. People do weird shit. They just call things the wrong thing all the time. They're really stupid like that. Did I ever drink grape soda? I did. When I was a kid, I liked different flavored sodas. Orange, grape. My great aunt used to stock different kinds of flavored sodas. She used to have, what is it, Welch's? Was it? I can't remember. She used to have all kinds. Strawberry soda? Yeah, she had weird flavored sodas. That, like, things that you wouldn't think of. Like, you know, oddball flavors. But they were pretty good, actually. But I haven't had that stuff in a million years. Oh, let's see here. So Dr. Oink did another dollar tip. He says, did you know you're my favorite streamer? What class interests you the most in Diablo? Mine is Druid. You know, someone asked me this the other day, and I couldn't remember. I mean, it's been so long since I played Diablo that I can't remember what classes I've used in life. I know I played Diablo 2 twice, but I couldn't even tell you what my classes were. I mean, we're talking 20 plus years ago. And quite frankly, Diablo 3 left such a non-impact on me. I literally don't even remember anything about the playthrough at all. I don't remember what class I used. I don't remember anything. It's just like it never happened. It was wiped from my memory. As if I never played it. So. Still Kubo says, can we make Final Fantasy V a morning stream for 1 or 2 streams? I mean, see, that's the thing. We could. Here's how I'm approaching it. Alright? We're beating Oblivion tonight. We have the rest of this week and then Thursday to focus on everything before Street Fighter 6 comes out. Realistically, what could I maybe complete before Street Fighter 6 comes out? Would it be Jedi Survivor or would it be Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster? That's the question we kind of have to address and tackle now. And based on that, maybe we could determine what should be played these extra streams, you see? But I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. Grim Ripper, thank you for re-upping your membership. It's PlayStation Showcase most interesting game. The most interesting game in the whole showcase that I saw? Oh. See, I don't know. I would say it's a tie. Like Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2, Assassin's Creed Mirage, probably, for me. Those are the most interesting ones. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, Metal Gear. It's like, yeah, but it's the same games. You understand that, right? Like, it's not like, oh, there's a new Metal Gear coming out. It's hard to get hype when it's just the same shit again, you know? Swago Nito says, how many hours does it take to beat Jedi Survivor? Someone Google it. Apparently, someone just said in the chat, they said if you just do story, you don't look for optional items, content, or anything like that, it's 20 hours. But the world, or the game has all this open world stuff. We've already done significant open world exploration on Kobo, and somewhat on Jeddah as well, right? So, you know, we've already put time into it. We're at, what, 18, 19 hours of the playthrough now? I take that back. I think we're at 22. We're at 20, okay, it's 22 hours, but 2 of the videos were hour and a half, so it's really a 23-hour-long playthrough right now, right? So the question is, ugh, piece of hair. The question is, you know, with the extra time I put into it, how much longer do we really have? I don't know. Like I said, we're back on Kobo again for like the 3rd time, and we're about to do a new dungeon. This was the one where there was the green wall we couldn't pass, but now we're going to pass and do that dungeon there on Kobo, and then see where it takes us next. I don't know where it's going to take us next, so. Well, what did we do for the story? We did the intro. We went to Kobo, right? We took out all the raiders that were, or the bandits that were on Kobo. We went and did the dungeon on Kobo. We found the Jedi with the missing arm who then turned to the dark side. We left Kobo and we went to Jeddah. We met with Seer and her people. Then we went back out. There was two options to go. We went to the Shattered Moon. We did the whole moon base. We finished that. Then we went back to the other base on Kobo, and we got the destroyed piece of equipment that was there. Then we went back to Jeddah. We explored the open worlds of Jeddah. Then we went to the dungeon on Jeddah. We just completed the whole dungeon where you get the air dash and the ability to pass through the green force fields. We went back to Kobo, and now we're about to do the next dungeon on Kobo, whatever that is. So that's where we are in the story. That's a good amount of story. That's probably like 7-8 hours of story, I would say, at least. If not longer. Maybe even more. You know, we did do a significant amount of time on the optional fights and exploration. Remember when Anakin killed the sand people and the women and children too? Yeah, he murdered everybody. He didn't care. That's when he turned to the dark side. Dex says, I would say there's a good 3 more places to go and backtrack. I guess, okay, let's see how far we are by the end of today. Because we're going straight to the story today. Like, we're going right there to the story part of Kobo. All right. Another question is, in Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster, we just finished the Shifting Sands Pyramid Dungeon. So, how much is left in that game? I know there's 3 major dungeons and then the finale, but then there's also, like, super bosses. So, what are we doing here? All right, again, I don't spoil myself on the length of game, so it's hard for me to gauge and judge. You guys would probably know way better than me. So let's go ahead and play today. Let's see how far I get. Maybe by the end of today's stream, people who played the game will have a better idea. Okay. Anything else, guys? Are we good? I think we're good to adjourn. Good podcast. Lots of information covered, which I knew there would be. Again, I just want to reiterate, please understand, no drama. We're keeping that policy up. It's worked really well the last 2 weeks. I don't want to address drama and nonsense or anything. I don't give 2 shits about any of it. Just keep it out of my streams, and we're going to have a nice, smooth, fun time here today. Don't bring any of that shit up, okay? Good to go? All right, guys, thank you so much. Great podcast today. I appreciate your time, your support, your engagement. You're very nice people to be here and chill with me here today. And I'm excited to jump into Star Wars. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for being patient. It's been a while since we had a platitude. Almost messed that up. A platitude of new release games. We're about to hit a ton with Street Fighter 6 and Diablo and Final Fantasy 16, plus the games I'm juggling, plus more. It's going to be a very exciting time here on DSPGaming. I hope that you will join me for the upcoming festivities. Thank you for being patient and kind of waiting through all this other time when we were juggling a million other things that weren't as interesting, but I think we are about to get exciting. And I hope that you guys will be here for it all. All right? Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.